It's Mailbag Tuesday on CHGO Blackhawks. What will the roster look like next year, and what is the outside pressure doing to these young players? Won't someone think of the children? Join us next on CHGO Blackhawks. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast live from the Xfinity Loft. I'm Jay Zawaski. Greg Boysen's here today. Mario Tirabassi is under the weather. Chloe is here running the show as well. Thanks for being with us. Do us a favor, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page as well. If you're listening on the podcast, we love you and appreciate you as well. Make sure you're following or subscribed on your favorite app. Turn those notifications on so you know when a new episode drops. We got a lot to get to today. We're going to do mailbag stuff. And usually we just kind of rifle through the diehard mailbag. We're going to do that a little bit later. We've had so many people reach out to us over the last few weeks based on a couple different conversations. You've had a couple weeks ago, Frank Saravalli was on CHSN revealing what he thought the Hawks lineup was going to look like next year. Then you had Elliot Friedman a couple days ago on 32 Thoughts say he thinks the Hawks are going to be active in the offseason. Maybe not as strong of a comment from Friedman when you actually hear it, but we're going to get into that, all that stuff. So let's just start it right there. Next year's team, the 2026-27 Blackhawks. You and I talked about it last night, Greg, after the postgame show. We are getting very, very close to the arrivals of Sacha Boisvert and Anton Frondell. The assumption as well is that Roman Kanserov will be part of things next year. Already, you're kind of out of roster spots if you think all those guys are going to play in the NHL.
Yeah, there's not a lot of spots available next season when you look at it. The guys that are currently on the roster that will be UFAs after you trade deadline and got rid of Murphy and Dickinson. Ilya Mikheyev, but we heard Kyle Davidson said he really wants to bring him back.
Yeah. It sounded somewhat optimistic, I would say.
Yeah, but that's also him getting ahead of it, saying, hey, I really wanted this guy, but he wanted to go play for a winning team, which you can't fault him for. And then Sam Lafferty, who pretty much isn't on this team anyway, just, he's barely played. So you'd probably have to do some moving around. Frondell will be here. I fully expect him to be in the NHL next year. Kanserov will be here. I fully expect him to be in the NHL just because he's had multiple seasons in the KHL. I mean, the transition from KHL to NHL, there is going to be some growing pains there, but it's not like he's coming from the Ontario Hockey League or Boston University and going to jump right in. He's played in a top-tier professional league, one of the best 2 or 3 leagues in the world for the last 2.5, 3 years. He should be able to just get here and, have a pretty smooth transition. Same with Frondell, coming from playing in the Swedish Hockey League, right up there with the KHL.
Playing among men.
Yeah, and, he's had Marcus Kruger as his mentor all season. He's going to know what to expect.
Yeah.
Knowing what to expect and then actually going through it are two different things. But those guys will have easier transitions to the NHL than a lot of the other rookies. I don't foresee them having to start the year in Rockford. Boisvert, who's most likely going to get a few games here by the end of the season, that doesn't guarantee he's on the opening night roster. Like he might need some Rockford time. We'll get a good look at him.
We'll see, yeah.
And then
Vermont.
And then training camp. Landon Slaggert. We all like him. Great guy.
We all do.
He might be squeezed out of a roster spot. What do you do with Nick Lardis? So you may have to make some subtractions via trade this offseason. Otherwise, it's not going to look a whole lot different up front.
Well, let's take a look at the rosters that Frank Seravalli presented, starting with the forward group. He's got Bedard, Green, Burakovsky, Nazar, Frondell, Kancerov, Moore, Bertuzzi, Lardis, Donato, Teravainen with mystery centerman with several. Is that 9 question marks? Up front. That is a very young team. That's a very inexperienced team. And I think my fear with that is, as excited as I would be to watch it, we have noticed that there is a portion of Hawks fans that are growing exceedingly impatient with this rebuild. And we're going to answer a question about this later, so I'm not going to spoil it all right now, but we have to realize, and the Hawks have to realize, that most people that consume their product are not consuming it at the level that we are and at the level that people that watch this show are, where it's every day. It's like the Blackhawks are a religion to them. They pop the TV on, they see the Hawks losing, and they're frustrated. They pop the TV on, they see all these high draft picks on the ice and the team losing, and they're frustrated. I want them to stay the course because I believe in what they're doing here. But from a business standpoint, it could be difficult to sell that next year as your opening day lineup.
It could be, and I also think that's why finishing down this stretch strong helps too.
Yeah.
Remember where we were at this point last year. Frank Nazar started playing great, and then we got Rinzel and Moore, and a lot of these guys. Levshinov came up and started playing. And remember the end of the year last year, how optimistic everybody felt.
Yeah.
Do that again this year, and you could help. That will help sell it. If Anton Frondell comes here and plays 10 games in the NHL and has 6 goals and 10 points, people will be excited for that.
Yeah.
People are excited for Roman Kancerov after the year he's having in Russia, and he's not even done yet. That his season might end with his second KHL championship in 3 years. I mean, that the hype is there for him. So selling those 2 guys won't be that difficult. Fans have been hearing about those guys for so long. They're going to be excited to see him. But, another year of Andrei Burakovsky and Teuvo Teravainen, and it's like, okay, when are we moving on from that and upgrading?
Yeah, but that's the question. It was, how do you upgrade?
It's not a great year to be looking for that. The free agent market stinks. So, you're going to have to, if you're going to improve, and that mystery unknown spot could be Ilya Mikheyev. If you re-sign him, there's your 12 forwards.
Right.
So,
you also
do you look to clear out a roster spot? Do you dangle Teuvo Teravainen and his last year was contract?
But then are you clearing another spot for a kid, and then you're asking yet another young player to contribute? Because, look, we all still believe in Frank Nazar. We all still believe in Nick Lardis and Oliver Moore, but all those guys have had their periods of struggle this year. So if you're plugging in 2 more young players, at least, maybe 3, if you're moving on from one of the veterans that's already on this team, you're going to have periods where all the young guys are in a lull or are, in a scoring slump or are out of gas because it's the first time they've played 82 games. It's all the stuff we heard this year about the Hawks prospects leading into the Olympic break. I think everyone's very pleased with Ryan Green. I think everyone's very pleased with Oliver Moore, but we saw them hit a wall. So now you're adding 2 more of those at least next year, probably Nick Lardis full-time. Are you willing to add a 4th player that's going to do it? See, that's where I'm at. And you also have to worry about hitting the cap floor, which is going to be an issue. So I think moving away from veterans you already have is kind of out of the question. I think those guys are going to be on the team. And I also think you have to resign Mikheyev because you're asking 1, 2.
There was one guy that
3,
wasn't on that list
4,
from Frank
5.
Seravalli because he wasn't on the team yet, and that's Andrew Mangiapane.
Yeah, Mangiapane fills a veteran role there.
So you got Burakovsky and Mangiapane. I think you have to say goodbye to one of those guys, either a buyout or a trade.
I don't think they have any problem buying out Burakovsky.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still think he has the ability to be an effective player, but what we have seen from him over the last 2 months, 3 months, is what happens to him everywhere, where the consistency is just not there for him.
So if you want to upgrade your forward group, it's got to be via a trade.
Yeah.
Or does Kyle Davidson get weird and weaponize an offer sheet and go crazy?
That does not seem like his personality.
You know, throw money at a Leo Carlson or an Adam Fantilli. It sounds great, but that's fantasy drafting.
Yeah.
That rarely ever happens. And the amount of draft picks you have to give up to get, I mean, there's so many aspects, how long you want to sign them.
Right.
But you're going to if you're going to go after one of those guys, you have to come at it with a big enough contract to where they're going to be like, no, we're good. We'll let it go.
We got to pass on that.
Because we're going to get 4 first-round picks.
Right.
You can't give them an offer sheet for 2 years because they'll just match it or surpass it. So it's going to be difficult. This is a difficult, uncharted, waters for NHL GMs with the salary cap going up. The different loopholes that used to be exploited for playoff rosters and the trade deadline are now going away. You can't, the whole, if you're on LTIR, you have to remain on it. All that stuff has been changed now.
The Mark Stone rule.
Yeah. So, free agency is pretty much dead as far as getting elite talent. Free agency now is for when you get your 12th forward and 7th defenseman. That's about it. So it's a new era for NHL GMs. And I think to a degree, Kyle Davidson's kind of already been building this team along those lines.
Yeah.
So it's not a whole lot different for him. But they're going to have to get creative. Otherwise, the roster we see now, with the addition of a couple of young forwards, it's pretty much going to be the same thing next year. I know that's not exciting. I know that's not what people want to hear. There's no free agent out there. There's nothing. Yeah. Like if Kaprizov and Draisaitl and all those guys who thought were going to be here, okay, maybe get your hopes up. They throw a pile of cash at those guys. None of those guys are there. There's nobody worth investing money right now.
No.
Because they're not better than what you have. There's nobody on the free agent market that you could sit there and say he's better than what's already here.
And will be available.
Outside of Alex Tuck, who I cannot see Buffalo
There's no way.
Not with what's going on now.
No.
And even if they do, probably not going to sign with the Blackhawks because he's another guy that's getting up there in age. He's not a young guy anymore. He's been in the league, 7-8 years already? He's going to want to go to a contender to where he can go win a cup. Especially, if Buffalo is a second-round exit, first-round exit this year, he gets a taste. He's going to want to go someplace he can contend.
Yeah, you want me to just run down the free agent list?
Sure.
Get your barf bags ready, everybody. Alex Ovechkin is 40, probably retiring or going to play in Russia. Patrick Laine can't get on the ice. Kevin Hayes is going to be 34. Anders Lee is going to be 36. Anze Kopitar retiring. Evgeny Malkin will be 40. Nick Schmaltz, 30 years old.
All the reports out of Utah is they're going to sign him.
And again, is he that big of a needle mover? Probably not. He's just taking ice time away from more. And
he's going to want a 4 to 6 year deal.
Yeah. Jaden Schwartz, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Charlie Coyle, Evander Kane, Vladimir Tarasenko. You mentioned Alex Tuck, Jordan Eberle, who just resigned. Ilya Mikheyev, Nick Foligno, Michael Bunting, Mason Marchment. There's not a lot here. There's just not that's going to help you get better.
So we'll have to listen to people scream that Kyle Davidson didn't get any free agents. Which one of those guys do you want, and which one of those guys makes you better?
How about Patrick Kane?
You had to go there, didn't you?
He's a UFA. It won't happen. There's no shot. Unless they hire Stan Bowman back. And he'll get Brandon Saad, too, who's also a UFA. The move here is going to be trade, like you said. And why don't we talk about some of those potential names when we come back? We are going to hit the break zone. Do us a favor, hit that like button. Not enough likes at all. Noodleman is in the other room, very upset that the likes are so low. So please hit that button. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll be back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, and what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That is the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. That's a good name for it. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even know they exist. Super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense is what you're going to get. That lets you stream the game even when the whole family is online. All of your devices working together in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part, no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and you'll get Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from us, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger, or they get crushed. But your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, and restrictions do apply. And if you're looking for a reliable bank that's going to help you along the way of your financial journey, check out Old National Bank, where they believe every play matters. From everyday checking to long-term planning and commercial banking, their team is there to build momentum and help you move the ball forward. It all starts with a plan tailored for you by professionals you can trust. From simple tasks to bigger financial moments, you can count on Old National to coordinate your needs with steady, knowledgeable guidance that brings clarity and confidence to every step. It's a partnership designed to help you feel supported, not just today, but well into the future. So whether you're celebrating a win, rebuilding after a tough loss, or gearing up for whatever comes next, they've got your back with tools, insights, and an expert crew that's always in your corner. Old National Bank, member FDIC, where relationships and results matter. All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks. Thank you for the likes. Keep those coming. All right, now as we're trying to say, like, where can the Hawks realistically find a piece to add via trade? And there's one name that I am not going to let go away until they have exhausted every resource to make it happen, and that's Jason Robertson. When Dallas trades for Mikko Rantanen, and they invest all that money in him, and they've got these young players coming up too, there's going to have to be a sacrifice made. Jason Robertson is in 10, 11, $12 million player. I don't know how the Dallas Stars afford him. I know they've got the Tyler Seguin money going off. I know the cap's going up. I would do everything I can. We did hear from Elliot Friedman a couple months ago that last summer, Kyle Davidson was actively pursuing Jason Robertson, talking to the Stars. Ultimately, the Stars decided not to trade him. Now you have to wonder, do they have any interest trading inside the division? Maybe they're not worried about the Blackhawks just yet. It's not like they're trading him to the Avalanche or trading him to the Wild. The Blackhawks, even with Jason Robertson, would still be a year or two away from contending. And by then, maybe the Dallas Stars window is closed a little bit. I'm going after him. The other name that popped up for me over the trade deadline that shocked me is Matthew Knies. Why is Toronto even considering moving on from Matthew Knies?
Are they, though?
I don't.
Who's reporting that?
I heard Friedman talk about it. I heard everybody talk about it leading into the deadline. Something is out there.
I'd be surprised.
When there's smoke, there's fire. But why would you do that? That's the guy, if I'm Toronto, and thank God I'm not, that's the guy you build around. That's your centerpiece. But if they're talking offers for Matthew Knies, you cannot get me on the phone quickly enough to figure that thing out. And people say, like, how many draft picks can Kyle Davidson realistically have? The reason you stockpile these are because not every draft pick is going to be a hit, right? Maybe you project a guy as a top line right winger and he becomes a second or third line right winger, still a good player, but doesn't reach the potential. You get more scratched at the lottery ticket the more picks you have, or you use them for trade. And the Hawks have so much draft capital that they can make pretty much any deal happen, especially if a team is considering rebuilding. And if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs and you're looking at this roster, where is it going? When is it going to win again? When are the Leafs are not going to be winning in terms of like getting in the playoffs and like being a threat to compete. I feel like that ship has sailed for them.
Yeah, those are definitely two names that would be amazing acquisitions. Two guys who are just entering the primes in their career, different types of players, but both players that the Blackhawks need, especially a Matthew Knies, who's more of your old school traditional power forward, gets to the dirty areas of the ice, plays with a little physicality. I would, either of those guys. We as you said, there was reports that Davidson was interested in Robertson, and we all know that Matthew Knies almost became a Blackhawk in the Marc-Andre Fleury trade.
Stupid Brendan Shanahan not being stupid in that moment.
Yeah, dummy.
Be more stupid.
So those are two guys. Robertson, I can't see actually happening. I can't see the Stars moving on. The salary cap's going up. They'll figure it out. Those types of guys, Jim Nill is a guy that figures it out. The guy has won the last 13, 15.
He's won the Jim Nill Award every year.
They're going to name the freaking award after him soon. He'll figure it out. I can't understand that play. But if it is whatever the Stars want, I'm down. And anybody not named, Connor Bedard and Anton Frondell, and I would throw Artie Levshinoff in that list too. Otherwise,
that's it.
Any than that, anybody that's not that, I'm in. Matthew Knies, obviously who am I not trading for Matthew Knies list changes a little bit.
It's a little bit more,
but not much.
Not too many more.
I'm not, but it would take a little less to get to get Matthew Knies. Probably more draft picks than actual players. But it all depends. The Stars might be looking for a lot of draft picks too, because they're, as you said, they're an older team. Their core is locked up. They're going to need to get guys to kind of plug and play into those spots when the salary cap is an issue. And they're a team that trades away a lot of their first round picks because they're adding players at the deadline every year. So, those are two very intriguing names. Can a deal be made? We'll find out.
Do you think, speaking of the Leafs, there's any chance they move Austin Matthews?
I doubt it. I mean, they might have to at some point because he signed that 4-year deal. Was he got 2 years left to that 4-year deal?
He has 2 years after this one at 13.25.
I mean, man, trading Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews in back-to-back years, that is
That's tough
sell to that
fan base.
But if you're going to tear it down and start over, there's somebody
a really good start.
You're going to get a haul and a half for that. 2 years guaranteed of Austin Matthews. You're going to get a lot and start a rebuild pretty quickly. I don't see that happening. That's a tough sell to that fan base, but that fan base turns on everybody at some point. They all wanted him gone a couple of years ago. And they tried to run William Nylander out of town 2 years ago. And then they successfully ran Mitch Marner out of town last year. At some point, it's everybody's fault. You keep changing coaches, they keep changing GMs, and nothing changes.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough decision. I wouldn't want to be the GM that has to make that trade.
No,
I wouldn't want to be the GM that was brought into Toronto to fix everything, and you fix it by trading Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews in consecutive summers.
Yeah, I'm looking at that roster, and you've got 3 years left of John Tavares, you've got 4 years left of Knies, you've got 4 years left of Nylander. Morgan Riley has 4 years left. Jake McCabe has 4 years left. Chris Tanev has 4 years left. Yeah. Chris Tanev's deal goes till he's 41,
and he may end up retiring.
You got 2 years of Oliver Ekman-Larsson left. So even if you do have some of these guys retire, you can only hold so many spots for that. And there's no way out of this for them. There's just not. And then their depth pieces aren't enough to really get you anything. So if the Leafs are going to rebuild, you're trading one of those big names. How about Max Domi back to the Hawks?
No thanks.
I really love Max Domi.
I'm good.
Yeah, look, here's what I'll say. What we do know about Kyle Davidson is that he is very, very married to his plan. But every time he speaks and is asked, he always says, we are constantly looking for ways to upgrade our team. We are willing to add at any time if a deal makes sense for us. But he's not going to make a deal for the sense of making a deal, for the sake of making a deal.
He tried to get Jake Gensel 2 years ago.
Yes.
And that was at a time where we were like, doesn't make a lot of sense to try and get a guy like that here, but he tried. So they he's tried, but he's also kept his big picture intact. Where he's like, I'll add this guy if I can, but it's not going to be at the expense of this, or this. So to his credit, he's been extremely patient. And yes, that gets frustrating for the fans watching. It gets frustrating for the people covering the team.
Sure.
You're like, come on, can you give us something?
Yeah.
Instead of trading away all our favorite guys to talk to in the locker room, can you bring in some guys?
Yeah.
So, but all I'm going to say is about for this summer, for Blackhawk fans, temper your expectations. Not because Kyle Davidson doesn't want to do something. July 1st, don't do anything. There's nothing there. Unless you're going to sign a depth seventh defenseman.
Sure.
But, you know.
And even then, there's not really.
Yeah. I just, you know, temper your expectations. Don't be happy with you've got an influx of young guys. You're going to have more guys turning pro that are going to be in Rockford. You know, Frondell, all those guys we've talked about. And then just keep in mind that Connor Bedard will be even better next year.
Year 4. Year 3 of Nazar. 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, those guys. So you got the guys, the young guys that have looked good to great at points this year, all coming back with a full off season with Jeff Blashill's expectations. You know, Artie Levshinoff will be better next year. You know, Wyatt Kaiser will be better next year. All these things. So you got the guys that you're building around that are here that are going to, theoretically, improve.
Yeah.
Better improve. So those guys get better. You add in some new guys, you know, a couple of first-round draft picks, high-end draft picks from the last couple of years. Then you start. The Blackhawks are a couple of overtime wins, blown leads late. They're 4 or 5 of those, preventing a couple of those away from being right there in a wild card spot this year.
And you went a month without Bedard and Nazar.
So, okay, what was the stat? They have got 9 games where they've blown a lead with less than 4 minutes to play this season.
I think we did this on the show the other day, Chloe. Do you remember what the number was for like lost points? It was like, I think it was like 8 or 9 lost points or something we came up with because, you know, you can't assume they're going to win in overtime. You can't assume they're going to, you know, but I think it was somewhere around 9 points. Someone in the chat will remember.
But I thought it was 6 games where they had blown a lead.
And we did the point total, and it was it was I think it was like 9 or 10 points, which would give the Hawks right now, they'd have 69 points, nice, and they would be firmly in the second wild card spot.
So next year, instead of losing those games because the experience and the improvement, you win those games. You're the Utah Mammoth this year.
Yeah,
like. It's not out of the realm of possibility. You have to consider and take into account that the young guys that are here this year will be even better next year. And some of those games that they lost, they'll win.
right.
And you'll get a 7 to 10 point swing just because of that. And then all of a sudden, you're in a wild card spot. Or you're at least within striking distance of the wild card spot to where, hey, we're not trading away a veteran defenseman. We're adding a veteran defenseman. We're not trading away our best defensive forward. We're adding a key forward. Like, that's where you also have to look. Like, it's not going to be the same next year. It might be the same players, but they're all going to be another year older, another year more experienced, and better at playing hockey and finishing games.
All right. Before the break zone for funsies, UFA defenseman. Ready? Cale Makar.
Sure.
Still not signed.
He's coming.
Bring him here.
Here it is. And we're going to play him. We're going to play him on the wing. Connor Bedard's wing.
Jacob Trouba.
No thanks.
John Carlson.
No thanks.
Shea Weber.
all
We already
ducks.
got Shea Weber.
What's he done? He's got no points in 2 years.
Step it up. Jamie Alexiak.
No.
Rasmus Anderson.
No.
Connor Murphy.
I'd bring him back.
I'd bring him back.
I'd bring him back.
Nick Jensen.
Who?
Nick Leddy.
Yeah.
John Klingberg.
No.
Radko Gudas.
No.
Eric Goodbranson.
Man, the Ducks are going to have nobody on their blue line. No.
Matthew Dumba. Justin
3
Hull.
years ago, maybe.
Connor Clifton. Carson Soucy. Mario Ferraro. Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Ian Cole, Timothy Liljegren. Like, this is what we're saying, guys. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
it's not there.
There is no magic free agent out there that's going to turn this thing around unless Cale Makar reaches free agency. And then I throw the effing bag at the guy and say, fill in this check and you can come to the Blackhawks. Great. It's never going to happen. Never. So there's just not even if these guys, aside from Makar, reach free agency, which many of them won't, there's one difference maker to me, Alex Tuck. That's it. That's the only guy.
And I don't think he's reaching free agency.
Yeah, and that's like the one guy that you could say, like, okay, would he move the needle for the Hawks? Absolutely he would. That's it.
I don't think there's any way Buffalo lets him leave. After what the feel-good story they've been, and then you're going to let one of the most important players of that team just walk for nothing?
Yeah.
No chance.
Someone in the chat, Connor, says Pavel Dorofiev from Vegas. He's got 51 points in 64 games.
Power play guy.
He's 25 years old. Is he a free agent? I don't think I saw him on the list. Give me a second. Pavel Dorofiev. Yes, he is an RFA with arbitration rights after this year. So
You could trade for him.
sure.
I mean, he's got 16 power play goals, I think, this year. He's second behind Wyatt Johnston. He's been, he's essentially been a third line
16
forward.
power play goals, 25. So 25 of his 51 points are on the power play.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah,
The Hawks power play
the
needs
Hawks
help.
need that, definitely.
Yes.
But I always get a little worried about a guy that has a huge year and 80% of his numbers are from power play.
Oh yeah, 35 goals last year. And here's something to consider when it comes to him. If you are moving on from Mikheyev, you're bringing in another Russian that can help with Levchinov, that can help with Kancerov, with the language barrier, a little closer in age to those guys. I don't hate that.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely explore it, but, I don't know if Vegas is looking to move him. He's an RFA, so they have to.
Yeah.
They have first right of refusal, and
And the other question is too.
well, salary cap issues with Vegas, but
Is he Nick Lardis?
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, he's a power play specialist on a team that needs to get better at 5-on-5, and he doesn't help you get better at 5-on-5.
Right.
So that's where it's like, if the Blackhawks were a power play specialist away from getting back to the playoffs, and yeah, I'm all over it. But like, they need to get better at 5-on-5.
Yeah, Jeff Flashel does not seem to be the fan of a one-dimensional player.
No,
Which is why
Nick Lardis played 7 minutes last
yes,
night.
and Kevin Korchinski remains in Rockford. All right, we are super late for the break zone. Sorry, everybody. We know you've been waiting for these. We're going to hit them right
Can't
now.
wait to see what the next read is.
While we do that, you hit the like button. We'll be back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. The shot clock is ticking, and it's your chance to shop buzzer beater deals all month long at Ray Chevrolet during their Car Clearance Madness event. Stop in today and drive home with 0% financing for 72 months on new Chevrolet models, or check out their selection over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. And as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive so you know you'll get a great deal. Plus, Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently because the price you see is the price you get. Go see for yourself. Visit our partner at their convenient location right on Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss your shot to shop their Car Clearance Madness event going on all month long for 0% financing for 72 months on new Chevy models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. And as a man, are you starting to feel like you've got low energy as the day goes on, lacking that motivation and the drive, seeing the weight go up and the hair fall out, muscles tightening up? That could be the result of low testosterone. It's very common as you age and something to be mindful of. So whether it's peak performance or becoming a better father, better husband, or better man, Game Day Men's Health wants to support every man's health journey through personalized care tailored to your goals. All their clinics are family and locally owned, and you're in and out the door in under an hour. It's great. Anyone 27 and up can participate. Check out our buddy Josh here, who lost over 100 pounds in a little over a year using their testosterone replacement therapy. Check out their locations in Skokie, Naperville, Libertyville, and more, or scan that QR code. Start your best life with Game Day Men's Health. Go to GameDayCHGO.com to find locations closest to you. All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks, and it is time for everyone's favorite segment. Chloe, are you ready for this? Or are we delaying this? Are you queued up for this segment? All right, we're queued up now. It's Taking the Temp, presented by our friends at Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. You saw something cool online today you want to share with the class?
Share with the class?
Yeah. So
Here
this
it
was a concept jersey by southernhockey.co.
Yes.
One of my go-to websites for all things hockey. A mock-up Blackhawks third jersey. Now, if you're listening to the podcast, this makes it difficult. So I'll do my best to describe the image. This is a Chicago flag blue base jersey. The crest is the Chicago flag. The sleeves under the numbers are the Chicago flag. And the tomahawks and everything else are Chicago flag colors. They're wearing blue socks with white stripes and black pants with a blue stripe and a red star. These are cool. I can't imagine they'll ever stray from the Warrior head.
Yeah, if you had that jersey, but with the traditional crest on it, but just in Chicago flag colors, then I'm down for it. I love that color.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of anything that's powder blue or Chicago flag blue, whatever that color. I love it. I just need something more on the front of the jersey. I like the flag stripes on the sleeves. It's a good start. Just give me a better chest on the jersey, and we'll be all right.
Yeah, the color scheme is great. I if you take that jersey and just put the Warrior head on there instead of the flag, I'm in. Throw it up again there one more time, Chloe. Yeah, just put the standard logo on there and get rid of the toilet bowl collar too. Hate that collar.
They like that in the South, apparently.
I guess so. I've never been to southernhockey.co.
Look, you know what? It could be Southern Canada. It doesn't necessarily,
It could be.
We have to think globally here, Jay. It's not just I doubt that was designed by some guy in Birmingham, Alabama. I doubt it.
Pro quality design for beer leaguers. So it's all right. It's a company that designs jerseys for you.
There you go.
All right, I'm into it. Good idea.
It's a good start.
Good
it's
effort.
A good
Good
concept.
job.
It just needs some tweaking. It needs to be better than that.
We all do. All right, that was Taking a Temp, presented by Four Seasons. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com and take advantage of all their special offers and money-saving coupons. fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. All right, to the mailbag we go. Chloe, please zoom in on the screen. Oh, I can read that. Sweet. Okay, Secret Asian Man says, mailbag question. I know it's early in their careers, but is the lack of scoring from Frank Nazar and Oliver Moore a product of their line mates, growing pains, or adjustment to the NHL? When does it become a concern?
I'm not concerned at either of those guys yet. First of all, with Moore, I don't know if Moore is going to be a big scoring guy.
I don't think so either.
I think he is going to be more of your bottom six. I think Oliver Moore could be a Jason Dickinson type player with more speed, a little more offensive upside, but I'm not expecting Oliver Moore to be a 30-goal, 70-point guy.
He's on a 30-point pace this year.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get 45 to 50 points out of Oliver Moore every year, I think you're in good shape. So I'm not too concerned about that. And even if he was going to be a scoring guy, it's hard to be concerned about his output in a season like this where he's never really had a spot.
Right.
I mean, he's been on the roster and he's been playing, but he's never had a long run in the same spot. He's played wing, he's played center, he's fourth line, he's second line. He's too inconsistent for him to really get a groove going. And with Nazar, we're seeing these last couple of games, 2 goals, 6 points last 4 games. We're starting to see him find it. This year, hopefully, is an outlier. This year, he dealt with 2 injuries. He had the lower body injury. They got hurt in that Calgary game. And even when he came back from that, you could tell he didn't have it. And then he gets the broken jaw, and he came back from that, and it's taken him a few games, more than a few games to get going again. But now we're starting to see that dynamic Nazar using his speed, starting to drive to the net, all those things that we saw at the end of last year that got us so excited, that got him that contract. We're starting to see those again. So I'm not super concerned. Now, if Nazar comes out next year and has no injuries, and he plays all 82, and he's got 17 goals and 35 points at the end of the year, then I'm going to start going, all right, what are we doing here? This needs to be better. But right now, especially with the recent uptick, I'm okay with where he's at.
So he's .63 points per game this year. Over 82, that would put Nazar on pace for 52 points, which
I would like some more.
Sure,
more,
but
some more points.
I think I'm talking about Nazar,
right?
But I think that
52 points. I need some more from Nazar.
If
he's going to be your second line guy.
But if he's a 50, 60 point guy as a second line center, that's not terrible.
It's not terrible, but I think if Frank Nazar is 50, 60 points and he's your fourth best player because you've got three guys ahead of him that are so much better, okay. But Nazar's supposed to be Connor Bedard's running mate.
Well, he is until Anton Frondell shows up.
So, but if Bedard and Nazar or if Bedard and Frondell are on your top line, you got to have somebody on that second line driving I want at least 70 points a season out of Frank Nazar. 55 points is disappointing. It's not good enough.
Yeah, if you're talking about peak.
If that's what he is, the rest of his career.
If he has, let's say this. If he has 60 points next year,
I'm going to be a little
second full year.
I'm going to be a little disappointed.
I think that's kind of a fair expectation. I would hope for more, but I don't know if he has 60 points in 82 games next year.
He's getting paid for more than 60
Yeah,
points.
I know.
Now, we'll see how that goes. If he is the next 2-3 years averaging 60 points, it's not good enough for me.
All right, let's just have some fun. 60 point scorers.
Why you guys in fun?
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm gonna force it. I'm forcing fun. Now we got 18 games to go for most players, but here are your 60 point scorer right now: Connor Bedard, Ryan O'Reilly, William Nylander. That's in 47 games. Mika Zibanejad, Sam Reinhart, Nick Schmaltz, Travis Konechny, Morgan Geekie, Cutter Gauthier, Matthew Barzal. Like, these are all guys in the upper 50s right now. So if we're going to project out to ending the season with 60 points, let's say somebody with about 45 now. Is that fair?
Yeah, 45 to 50.
Okay. So 50 point scorers: Tom Wilson, Steven Stamkos, Charlie Coyle, Nikolai Ehlers, Dylan Strome, Dylan Cousins, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Ivan Demidov, Sam Bennett, Jesper Bratt. See, to me, this is where Nazar's at. This is where I see him when his career is realized, in this kind of the tier. In the second, like the B tier of NHL scorers. I don't think he'll ever reach point per game. I think 70 is going to be like a career high year for him, or in the 70s maybe. But I think what we're going to see mostly from him is 50, 60.
It just doesn't sound...
Especially
when
if
you
his
say
opportunity,
it doesn't sound...
If his opportunity is going to be reduced too a little bit, because if you're going to have Kancherov, you're going to have Frondell, you're going to have Bedard.
If Kancherov's on his line, he needs more than 50 points.
If he's on Nazar's line?
Yeah.
I just think he's playing with Bedard. I feel like he was drafted to play with Bedard.
So you're going to have Kancherov, Bedard, and Frondell on the same line?
Maybe. Or you have Green.
I say
or
this,
whoever you draft this year.
I mean, what about, if it's Nazar, Kancherov, and Bertuzzi, or you put Green down to that line? Green needs to go down to the bottom six. That's where he's going to excel. He's been good with Bedard, but
no doubt
Bedard needs better line mates. It's not a slam on Ryan Green. Ryan Green's stayed up there because he's one of the few guys that is smart enough to play with Connor Bedard. That's something that gets overlooked. You have to be smart to play with Connor Bedard because you have to be able to anticipate where he's going. I don't know. Just when you say, hey, Frank Nazar got 55 points, it just doesn't sound good. Now that then when you put it in the perspective of some of the other guys who do it, then you're like, okay, I guess doesn't sound that bad. Like if he has 60 points next year and he has 35 goals, you're like, oh, okay, that was an awesome season.
Yeah,
He has 60 points and it's
Well, remember, he's on a .63 point per game pace right now, and he went like a month without a goal.
right.
So here, I'm going point per game now, all right? Here are the guys that are .63 points per game in the league. Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Matty Berniers, Justin Brazeau, Nazar, Claude Giroux, Pavel Buchnevich, Alexis Lafreniere, Tyson Forrester, Jackson Blake, Gabriel Landeskog, Jack Quinn, JJ Peterka. See, this feels right for me. This feels like where Nazar is going to be, which is fine because he's going to be your second or probably actually your third or fourth best offensive option, not even including what they're getting in this draft, which we don't even know yet. It could be Gavin McKenna. It could be Stenberg.
0.63 points per game over the course of an 84-game season, which is what we're going to have next year.
True.
Is 53 points. It just doesn't sound that great.
No, but I think
I think more than that.
I think .63 will go up.
I hope so.
You know, I think that will go up. But I'm saying, like, we know he's at least that. And this is a season that, I mean, based on the question it's a season that most people are unsatisfied with from Frank Nazar. And he's still in the conversation with those names I listed, all of which are, a lot of those names are people that listen to this show have been chomping at the bit for the Hawks to trade for. Get Lafreniere, get JJ Peterka. Frank Nazar is that right now at age, what is he, 22? So, like, he's obviously going to get better from what we're seeing now is not peak Frank Nazar.
No.
So
that's what I'm saying. 70 points is not out of the realm. To me, I think by year 4, expecting 70 points from Frank Nazar is not unrealistic.
So not next year, the following year.
Yeah, with a better team around him. Okay. Next year, you know, if we get 60,
I say low 60s.
If next year we get 55 to 60 points out of Nazar, I'm satisfied with that. But by year 4 or 5, I want him to be a 70-point guy in the prime of his career.
I think that is a fair expectation.
Not next year. Next year, you know,
I still think 70 might be his peak, but we'll see. I mean, look, the opportunity for him to become a 30-goal scorer is on the table. There's no doubt about it. If he just converts some of these chances or, you know, I think health, we've seen him with some injuries too. You can't do anything about a broken jaw. It just happens.
Right.
But the lower body things, he had it happen in Michigan, happened this year against Calgary. Something to keep an eye on because if he loses a step, he loses a lot of effectiveness. But I'm pretty confident that he's a 60, 70-point guy. I think that's...
Yeah, when I was saying earlier, I was talking about the prime of his career. I want at least 70 points a year. And next year's not the prime of his career yet.
No, not at all. Not even close. All right, let's get to... we got a couple more questions we got to get to. We took 15 minutes on that one. What do we got next, Chloe? This one is from...
15 minutes to read this one.
Marshmallow? I can't read that. It's called...
Yes,
there we go.
Marshmallow.
Marshma 11 Ow says, with the performance of specific players at the Olympics, there's more and more discourse about pressure and expectations from fans affecting star players' gameplay. Even when Chicago won their cups, it didn't feel like the city criticized their every move, game, or play. Ultimately, hockey is a team sport. No one player factors in on every goal or defensive play. Are there any concerns about expectations and pressure when Bedard, Nazar, Levshinov, etc. get older and a team gets better? As a fan base, I think it might be really important not to ruin these kids. Look how well Austin Matthews played when the expectation to score every goal wasn't on him. Well, I think, just to remind you, even when the Hawks were winning cups, everybody hated Stan Bowman. Everyone was mad about Michael Hanzus. Everybody was mad about Michael Roosevelt. And that was when this team was rattling off 3 Stanley Cups in 6 years. So that will always be there. There always has to be somebody to blame. Always. It doesn't matter. Who's the Avalanche that everybody hates, Chloe? Is there a player on the Avs that everyone's like, get rid of this guy, he's ruining our shot? Or has there been historically?
I mean, historically, yes. There's always
Nazem
players
Kadri.
like that. Yeah, Kadri. No, like a big one, probably like 2 years ago, or even last year, Josh Manson. But it's all controversial because he takes a lot of penalties, but also he's like however 6'4" and
Yeah, but he's also the guy that
very
if
physical
someone
player.
takes a shot at Nathan McKinnon, he's going to end their life.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
it's like
Like-
controversial
Just like his
that.
old man.
I mean, Sam Girard was the same way, and they traded him. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always
always gonna be somebody.
that needs to get and I think, the Dynasty Cup Hawks definitely got, an easier ride here as far as criticisms go because they were winning, and that's all people want. So when you come in as a guy like Connor Bedard with all the expectations in the world, you're this generational player, all this stuff we heard about him and talked about for the last umpteen years, and then you don't win right away, people start questioning if you're as good as people thought they were.
And they have.
Right. And when you look at, Kane and Taves, they were the final pieces of that rebuild.
Out of the box.
They came in when the Hawks were just ready to start to win, where Connor Bedard came into this situation at the very beginning. So they had the luxury of coming into a room that already had some pieces in place. They already had Keith and Seabrook, who had gotten over their,
learning curve.
yeah, they
steep.
were already in the league a couple years and ready to take that next step. They weren't playing with Keith and Seabrook, their first years when they struggled, like we've seen with Levshunov and, Rinzel and Korchinski. They were already past that part of their careers. They had guys like Marty Lapointe and, was Robert Lang there their first year?
See, 2005, 2006 Blackhawks.
That would have been 06.
That was Seabrook's rookie year.
Yeah.
Was 05,
So-
06.
And they won. And but trust me, during the Stanley Cup run, God forbid you wrote something or you said something about the invisible piano that was on Patrick Kane's back when it was time to play defense. You got roasted. How dare you?
Right.
But they won. So when you win, you get the criticism is far more lenient. And the Blackhawks haven't been winning lately. So, and you get all these hype about first round picks and number one overall picks and all this stuff. And if you're not good right away, and that's where we see it in any sport. I mean, how many, in football, how many high first round picks for quarterbacks taken first, second, third overall, and they're out of the league in 3 years because you don't win year one, you're automatically a bust. And that's not fair to that player and all that. It's what have you done for me lately business when there needs to be a little more patience.
That was a veteran. So Brent Seabrook's rookie year, veteran-laden team. Kyle Calder, Mark Bell, Tyler Arneson, Radim Verbata, Rennie Bork, Martin Lapointe, Matthew Barnaby, Yaroslav Spacek, Jim Vandermeer, good old number 23, Patrick Sharp, 24-year-old Patrick Sharp, Duncan Keith, Pavel Vorobiev, who could forget him, Michael Holmquist, Mark Cullen, Curtis Brown, Jim Dowd, Jason Cullimore. There was a big veteran presence on that team.
A lot better roster than...
And they had Javi Bouin, they had Craig Anderson,
That's
Adam
a better
Monroe.
roster than what Connor Bedard has had 2/3 of his career.
Kyle Calder led that team in scoring with 58 points. Good Lord.
You're telling me Frank Nazar is going to be Kyle Calder?
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. All right, now we got a couple super.
ABC line, the good old days.
Yeah,
man.
they were fun because there was some promise there, but it never really panned out.
Not with those guys.
Too drinky. All right, super chat. Young Dangle God says you could bring Kaner back if you really want 60 to 70 points, and gives us his $1 ceremoniously, which we appreciate.
Committed to the bit. I give you credit for that.
Thank
my
you.
man.
Brandon with a $5 super chat says, what do you do if the Panthers pick is top 10 in 2026 and you have some leverage with 3 firsts possibly in 2027?
You definitely can use those extra picks to get something you want on the trade market. And Kyle Davidson kind of hinted at this year, just a couple after the deadline, kind of saying we have these picks. We have the ammo to pull off the deal when it makes sense. So, I fully don't expect them to make all those picks. They're either going to get packaged to move up to get a better player in the draft or on the trade market.
And DJ says, went to fry the coop after the win last night, and it felt like a second victory. Shout out to the I'm Fat podcast for the recommendation. Yeah, fry the coop's awesome.
I've yet to go there.
There's one right here on Chicago, really good. And that one's like a bar. It's a very different vibe from the other fry the coops, but the food's great, and the wings. They just launched wings like last month. Really, really good. Good stuff. Chloe ate half of a tender. Took her 3 hours, but she did it. Nothing? All right. Let's get to another mailbag question. Slow eater.
This is the third time you've brought this up today.
Well, it's entertaining.
First time on the air, though,
Is
to
it?
be fair.
Yeah. This one is from
I don't know
Tyler
about that.
Johnson, good old number 90
Hey,
himself.
He's back.
Says, I fully acknowledge this
When are
might
you
not
guys gonna
be
bring me back?
the correct mindset. However, I feel like we are at a point where a decision needs to be made with Korchinski. Now that he's been reassigned to the AHL once again, I feel like the kid's confidence has to be absolutely crushed. I think we either need to trade him for whatever we can get and draft a defenseman in this upcoming draft to restock the prospect pool, or we just need to put them on the NHL roster next season and just commit to him playing 84 games and hope he figures it out. Would love to hear your thoughts. I think the truth could be somewhere in the middle there. I know it feels urgent to figure out what Kevin Korchinski is, but it's really not. You've got your 6 defensemen for next year. The Frank Saravalli graphic of the defenseman illustrates that very well. Kevin Korchinski's not on it. It's Ethan Del Mastro. You can resign him as an RFA this summer for very, very cheap because he's done nothing at the NHL level, and use a couple more years to evaluate him. I still think you draft a defenseman.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely you do that. Maybe several.
Yeah, I mean, you always got to keep that, rotation going. Korchinski, Del Mastro, both will be waiver exempt next year. So Korchinski will be on this line. Will be in the lineup. He'll
Unless they trade him.
unless they trade him. I think it's still too early for that. But
the problem there, too, is if you do that, you've got no one NHL ready to come up from Rockford if somebody gets hurt.
you still have,
What's his putts they just traded for?
Derek Pouliot, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're any defensemen. Yeah, well, but they're kind of in a bind now, because but they're both waiver exempt, Del Mastro and Korchinski. Do you need to make that decision right now? No, but I was kind of hoping post-trade deadline Korchinski would be here so you'd get 20 games of a better idea. Like with Del Mastro, I think you know what Del Mastro is.
Right.
And it's a good player that still has some strides to make and development to go, but you know what he is.
I feel confident when Ethan Del Mastro's in the lineup, I feel confident that his 12 to 14 minutes are not going to cost you.
You know what Ethan Del Mastro's ceiling is at this point.
Yeah.
You don't know where Kevin Korchinski's ceiling is at this point. And you have to give him that extended runway to prove if he's part of this future or not. I thought he'd be up here now. Apparently that's not a thing. So next year, you re-sign him, you give him the Lucas Reichel, Philip Kurashev 2-year prove-it deal, and you hope he gets in the camp bigger, stronger. Send him with Connor Bedard this summer. Let him do whatever Connor Bedard did last year. Send him and Frank Nazar, and I'll send everybody to hang out with Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini all summer.
That sounds great. And then bring Celebrini back with you.
Right, that'd be cool. Or his little brother who scores 1 million points against other 12-year-olds, apparently. Way to go. But I think next year, if they don't trade him this summer, which is a possibility, but I don't think his value is that great right now. So it's going to be interesting to see, but you have to figure this out sooner rather than later. We can't keep kicking that can down the road. Because eventually you're going to have Lucas Reichel where you're like, this guy had so much promise, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
And we got nothing to show for it.
But at least Lucas Reichel got an extended look. Boston Bruins legend, Lucas Reichel, by the way. He got the opportunity to play at the NHL level for an extended time. And yes, Korchinski got that as a rookie, but he was playing with Jacob freaking Megna.
Yeah, and that whole thing, in hindsight, who knows if that...
But he's putting up 150 points in the WHL helping him either.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've had that discussion.
We'll have it forever until he
that dead horse has been beaten, and but we do need to know at some point what if Korchinski can make it in the NHL. And I would have thought the final 22 games of a season that isn't going to end in a playoff run would be the perfect chance to give him that time, as opposed to well, next season we might sniff a wild card spot, but let's lose 14 of our first 24 games because Kevin Korchinski's bad. That's not the most sound plan either.
No, it's time to. I wrote about it for ALLCHGO.com. We are in overtime, by the way. If you're on Fast Channel, head over to ALLCHGO.com to continue the conversation. I wrote about it for my latest column of like, okay, here's his chance, and then he gets sent back. And it's like, okay, like, and I said last night, like, I get what Matt Grzelcyk brings to his team. I understand that getting some dubs at the end of the year is important, right? You want to have the vibes be high. But, man, you got to – I just don't know where his opportunity is coming. And it's – it's such a perfect opportunity right now.
Right.
To say, hey, man, like, here's your run. Do it. Take it. See what you can do with this. And maybe an injury happens where they call him up. But then I feel like if that happens, it's Del Mastro will go in. And, again, I'm not saying this as a criticism to Del Mastro. Like you said – we know what he is. We know what Del Mastro is going to be. Fine. We know he is a reliable, stay-at-home, bottom pair defenseman. Cool. And maybe he finds another step in a year or two and becomes a middle pair guy. Okay, that's not out of the question. He's never going to be a Norris Trophy winner. He's never going to be an all-star. He's never going to be a power play quarterback. I think 2 of those 3 things are on the table for Kevin Korchinski. Power play quarterback, all-star. I think if he pans out, he could reach that. Norris Trophy, probably not. But he can't do any of it without an opportunity. I don't know. That's why I'm a little bit frustrated with the way they've handled him. But
yeah.
But I also believe in Jeff Blashill. And if Jeff Blashill sees a kid play and says, no, I'm not doing that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you brought him in here to be your coach. But, there's also, other things where you're like, okay, people would love to say, well, you've let Andre Burakovsky keep playing on the first line, and he told you last night, buddy. Yeah, great. 1 goal in 20 games. Way to go, dude. Now do that again, and we'll have another conversation. But, it's concerning for Korchinski, but I'm not writing off a 21-year-old offensive-minded defenseman this early in his career. But you have to figure it out soon.
Yeah.
It's got to be next year. And if he's not part of your plans, if you've already made that decision, then trade him this offseason while you still have some sort of mystery. Hey, you can unlock his
2-time AHL All-Star, baby.
Yeah, AHL All-Star game MVP, mind
you. Well,
and
even if Blashill's like, I see what you saw when you drafted him, but this kid's not playing for me, fine.
Move on then.
Move on. For his sake and for everybody's sake. Before we get to our last question, an inferior betting site just posted this. First 200 career games, Connor Bedard and Patrick Kane. Bedard has 71 goals. Kane had 61. Kane had 123 assists. Bedard has 115. So points-wise, Bedard has a 186 to 184 lead on Kane after 200 games. Shot percentage, 12.5 for Bedard, 10.8 for Kane. Power play goals, 22 each. Would you like to take a stab at the plus-minus difference for Patrick Kane and Connor Bedard through 200 games?
It's significant. Even though Bedard's been a lot better plus-minus this year, what is he like?
Kane was a +7. Connor Bedard is a -87.
Well, there's where you get the difference in the rosters.
Yes, I would say
I was just going to say, that's really impressive for Connor Bedard because Patrick Kane's first 200 games was surrounded by a lot more talent than Connor Bedard has been surrounded with.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, he didn't spend a season playing with Andre Burakovsky and Ryan Green.
Yes. All right, last question. One more from the Hawk Hog Train. Says, are you as amazed as I am at how ignorant and ill-informed so many so-called fans are with this rebuild?
No.
Absolutely not. All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow at 3. Hawks practice at 10:30 tomorrow. You know what that means. I'm getting lunch at the Blackhawks Ice Center. Are you coming to practice tomorrow?
I haven't decided yet, but I think so.
You should come.
Chicken tendies.
Can you fill in tomorrow?
Chicken tendies.
I'll let you know.
That's a
Greg,
yes. You have to.
do it for us.
If you want Greg to fill in tomorrow, hit the like button.
Well, you better find Stacy a ride to the airport then.
Uber. Have her ride the dogs.
Yeah.
Greg will be here because you hit the like button one time. Sorry. Those are the rules. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3. Greg or not on CHGO Blackhawks.
We all silly like the mayor.